Chapter 9 Guru Worship. Sri Sai Baba's beneficent work, especially on the vast scale that is now seen more and more, was and is exercised through various means, Sai worship being one of the most important of these means. That worship was mostly Guru worship, his Marga being Guru Marga. Hence, Guru worship must form an important feature of the Sai movement. A full study of the Marga or problem here is out of the question. But to understand Sai Baba's life, Guru-Sishya relations and nature have to be studied, and Sai Baba's life and Leelas throw a flood of light on the full significance and value of Guru Marga. That term, picked up from Guru Gita, is clothed with power and glory from Baba's life. The story of the life of such a great saint like Sai Baba must include references to Guru and Guru worship, for it is by their grace that saints achieve perfection which they naturally endeavor to impart to others. By reason of Sri Sai Baba's ability to conceal his real nature and the working of his mind and body, obviously in pursuance of the directions of the sastras and gurus, that eminence must be concealed. As it says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the saint must be unfathomable, undiscerned, like the ocean and the python, moving about like an idiot or devil at times. His acting as a Sadguru and a Samartha Sadguru was unknown to the thousands that met him in life or heard of him thereafter. It is only by revelation of devotees' experiences that people now mostly realize that he was a Samartha Sadguru and had various grades of devotees and sishyas. Baba's biography is the practical illustration of what Guru and Sishya mean, and of the principles that govern their conduct and mutual relationship. Hence, a preliminary discourse on these subjects is needed, though it cannot exhaust either the general subject or its application to Sai Baba, his Guru and Sishyas. The Marga that Baba followed has puzzled many. Many ask, and still ask, whether he was a yogi or a jnani or a bhakta, or followed any Marga peculiarly his own. Several thought and still think that Baba cannot be classed under any of the divisions applying to saints and sadhus. As a result of study, aided by his own grace, one sees at last that he was an adept of all the Margas, though his chief Marga was Bhakti Marga, that special form of it that is described as Guru Marga in the Guru Gita, and that jnana and siddhis, including yoga siddhis, came in the wake of his Guru Bhakti. These will be made clearer as we advance in the study of Sri Sai's life and of his relation to devotees. At present, in this chapter, we shall state just a few preliminary matters relating to Guru and Guru worship. The definition of Guru is defined as one who imparts information or gives training to another. Any school teacher or moral teacher, or the one who teaches the way to salvation or mukti, or even teaches mantras for various religious or secular purposes, whether high or low, can be called a guru. The word guru is derived from the Sanskrit, and a number are found especially in the Guru Gita, as far as meanings are concerned, which is part of the Skanda Purana. Gu means guna, and therefore means darkness. And Ru denotes the action of destruction, just as fire destroys. So Ru is removal. So Guru means the dispeller of darkness or ignorance. Another definition says the guru is one who takes you from the gunas to that beyond the gunas, which is Brahman. In the Arabic or Persian, it is always better, especially when dealing with Sai Baba, whose teachings are unique and cosmopolitan, to give the word guru its equivalent in Arabic and Persian, as used by the Sufis. It is called mursad. It is the Sufi equivalent which Baba himself used. For example, Baba said, "My mursad has taken me away from this body, which is but my house." This means his guru had destroyed his identification of self with the body and made him realize that he, the Atma, is not the body, just as fire which burns the fuel is different from the fuel, and the seer is not the seen. In the Srimad Bhagavata, the Sufi equivalent for Sisha is Talib or Shakur. Everywhere in the world we find the usage is to have gurus. A guru for what? A guru for teacher. The question as to what he teaches or what helps he gives is expected to give is essentially the question. The classes of gurus. These are various classes according to what is taught, whether siksha or diksha, whether secular or religious, and methods adopted, whether guru is visible or invisible. The Guru Gita classifies guru under 7 heads. The first is the ordinary schoolmaster who gives secular teaching. The next is one who imparts ethical teaching, such as the Dharma. And then there's one who teaches mantras for various purposes, but it stops with that. And then comes the one who teaches mantras and other methods for achieving lower purposes, such as for fascination or preventing movement. These are almost invariably used to achieve low earthly objects and are hindrances to one's achievement of the spiritual goal. It is very dangerous for one to get under these types of gurus. Next is the one who teaches detachment and frees one from attachment to earthly things and prepares one for achieving one's spiritual welfare. It is emphasized vairagya or dispassion for progress, but also talks about women and wealth as being a powerful barrier to all progress, that is, greed and lust. And then it instructs the disciple as to the importance of the axioms of the Upanishads. After securing through dispassion, one is ready to get at least an intellectual grasp, and then a realization of the grand basis of all mukti, or liberation. Mukti is the realization of the real nature of oneself as Atman, or Param Atman. And the Mahavakyas embody that truth. Thus, the teacher of this basis of salvation is the cause for salvation, and therefore the Guru. And last comes the Parama Guru, the greatest of all, who enables the disciple to thoroughly absorb the truth of the Mahavakyas and to realize for himself that the Mahavakyas an escape from samsara or rebirth, worldly suffering and bondage. This is the Parama Guru. He is sometimes called the Moksha Guru. Diksha is a special process for removing evil taints and investment of pupil with powers, siddhis. There are various types of dikshas, by mere glance, by touching of the head, by words of blessing, mentally blessing, by teaching the scriptures or yoga. And then there's gurus entering into the pupil inwardly. And there's also doing blessings for the pupil. Need for a guru. The question whether guru is needed is oftentimes debated by people with great warmth, some holding that there is need and others holding that there is no need. These debates are usually infructuous and they excite and result in loss of peace. A good example is Hemadpant. Anna Sahib Dabolkar's case on his first visit to Shirdi. He hotly contested for 1 hour or so and contended that a guru was an unnecessary fetter and quoted the Gita in his support. But the other disciple took the opposite view and maintained that destiny was supreme and that a guru has all that one is needed. The discussion made by Anna Dabolkar, who was later known as Hemadpant and the author of the Sri Sai Satcharitra, fit the approach that the great Guru Sai Baba were reasons of restlessness. But Baba, by graciously revealing his fullness of all that passed during the discussion, made Hemadpant feel humble and contrite, and he felt that Baba was a wondrous supreme power before whom he and his weak powers must bend and give up his reason and supposed independence. And thus he became the disciple of Baba by the latter's grace and found that destiny had fixed him upon, though his reasoning might indicate independence was his proper course. The Sastras, the scriptures, the Bhagavata, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Guru Gita, the Katha Upanishad, and many others, say clearly that without a guru, Brahma Jnana and moksha cannot be attained. The need is questioned as a rule by persons not yet fit to be disciples, without humility or reverence, lacking patience, receptivity, and other virtues, or the proper attitude towards great saints. They must be advised to have satsang. That is, they must move with bhaktas, true devotees, and fit themselves for further progress. When they are fairly fit, they will get their guru. It is not the truth that disciples always go to find the guru. The reverse is often true. There are many noble souls waiting to be approached by persons who want to become true disciples and have the proper attitude and training. There is a line in one of the great texts that states, "There are great souls who have attained perfect peace and who are working in benefit and bless the world like the spring season. Though they have themselves crossed the terrible ocean of samsara, they are ferrying others across without any reward or recompensation or motive." Sai Baba himself sent for N.G. Chandokar expressly and drew hundreds or thousands to himself inwardly and unnoticed by them. Baba said, "No one comes to me except by my drawing. I draw people unto me under various pretexts, such as the worldly objects they want. When a boy ties a bird's foot with one end of a string and pulls the other end, can the bird refuse to come?" This drawing that Baba speaks of is mostly due to prenatal ties and obligations. This is termed by Bala Sahib Vate the irresistible pull of destiny. The need for a guru is patent, especially in worldly affairs. People do not expect the children to learn the 3 R's, that is, of drawing, without a teacher. If this is so in the patent material world, how much more essential is the need in subtle spiritual field? Generally, one's spiritual progress and the stages one has to go through and the way of mastering problems that arise there are often dealt with in books on religion. These books will not suffice to enable one to tackle this subject effectively. Religious literature is a vast forest through which one cannot pick one's way. Guru Gita says, Skatras Jalam. It means salutations to Sri Guru who shows the path to one, the disciple, who has got deep into the forest of samsara and has lost all knowledge of even the cardinal directions and got confused. Later it also adds that the Guru alone can help one to go through this forest of the spiritual field. On one occasion, this point was raised by Baba apparently accidentally. He was referring to the fact that he himself was a guru who could guide those who came to Shirdi or to his feet to make spiritual progress. On the general question about the necessity for guru, Baba mentions the discussion between himself and 3 other fellow students who were reading the Pathi, the Parayana, and discussing how to get realization. Baba himself described how he met his guru. Once myself and 3 others were studying and discussed how we were to get realization. One said we should depend on ourselves and not on a guru. For the Gita says, raise yourself by the self. The second and third sadhaks quoted the need of qualifications or requisites for Brahmayana, as per the Viveka Chudamani. But this is mere reproduction by bookworms. How to get self-control and release from doubts in direct experience. How to actually feel that the thing our animal, uncorrected nature draws us to is transient, and how to overcome our desire for it and feel a revulsion to it. There lies the rub. Books do not solve this. Surrender to a loving guru and love towards that guru alone can solve these problems. Baba, the 4th sadhaka, was practical and noted that surrender and love to the guru were the only solutions. One of the second sadhaks said, the main thing is to make the mind self-controlled, free from thoughts and doubts. It is we who are in everything everywhere. A third said the form, as phenomena, is ever-changing. The formless is unchanging. So we must always be making self-inquiry, distinguishing between the unchanging and the changing. The fourth disliked bookish knowledge and said, let us do our prescribed duty and surrender our body, speech, and life to the Guru, who is all-pervading. Faith in him is the thing needful. As we rambled through the forest, we met Vanachari, one that works in the forest, to ask us, where are you going in this heat into the forest? We gave no direct reply. He kindly warned us from getting into the trackless woods, and that needlessly he bade us share his food. We disdained his advice and marched on. But in that vast and dense wood we lost our way. That man met us again and said that by relying on our own cleverness, we had got into a wrong way, and that a guiding finger was needed to show the way. Did not despise offers of food. Such offers are auspicious signs of success in one's endeavor, he said. And he again invited us to take food with him. Again we declined it and went away. I soon felt hungry, and I went and accepted a bit of bread and ate it and drank some water. The Guru then said, what was your dispute? And I told him all our talk. The others left him and did not care for him, but I reverently bowed to him. Then he took me to a well, tied up my legs with a rope, and suspended me, head downwards, from a tree by the side of the well. My head was about 3 feet off the water, which I could not reach, and the Guru left me there and went away, God knows where. He returned after 4 or 5 hours and asked me how I fared. In great bliss was my time passed, I answered. The Guru, mightily pleased with me, drew me near him, passed his palm over my head and body, and spoke to me tender words dripping with love, and he put me into his school, where I entirely forgot my father and mother and all attachments and desires. I loved to gaze at him. If he were not there to see, I would not like to have eyes at all. I did not wish to go back. I forgot all other things but the Guru. My life was concentrated in my sight, and my sight in him. That was the object of my meditation. In silence I bowed. The meaning, realization, flashed upon me of itself without effort or study, purely by his grace. Guru's grace is our only sadhana. Jnana comes as experience or in its wake. The above is a correct description of Baba's Marga, which has been called Guru Marga in the Guru Gita. Guru Marga may be defined as that form of Bhakti Marga in which faith in and devotion to the Guru is the only sadhana for achieving every end, including salvation, mukti, or Brahma Atma, or Satchidananda. And it is the conquest of samsara, and also the accumulation of all yoga siddhis and temporal welfare. Here Baba showed the applicability of the Guru Gita to religious progress. The one who is acquainted with the ins and outs of the spiritual field, a forest, is a vanachari. The fourth, Baba, was the person who realized that a guide was needed, and mere talk with bookish knowledge was no use at all to help one to realize God and himself. Above all, the question was not an intellectual one. It was a problem as to how a particular soul was to be raised to realization, and that was essentially a matter of molding the entire soul of the student or disciple. What is wanted, therefore, is humility, receptivity, and a powerful desire to reach the goal with the aid of a guru, and therefore a readiness to adopt a guru and surrender everything to the guru, as Baba has said. Everything, body, mind, possession, Baba sacrificed and surrendered at the feet of his guru as a result of the intense love he bore to his guru. The solution of the problem as to whether there is a need for a guru is already reached when the disciple gets into the proper humility, receptivity, and longing attachment to the guru, which culminates in mutual love. Then realization is reached. Realization flashes upon the disciple purely by Guru's grace, as is repeatedly stressed also in the Guru Gita. Baba wound up most appropriately by saying, "The Guru's grace is our only sadhana. Jnana comes as experience or in the wake of Guru's grace. He alone succeeds who feels the Guru is the one thing needed. If sastric authority is needed on the question of the need for a Guru, we have it from the Upanishads and the Puranas. It is also mentioned in others. In one verse of the Upanishads it says, "He who has intense faith in God and equally intense faith in the Guru, who is treated as God, To him, these teachings of the Upanishads about God flash out. In another, it states, it is the man who has a guru that can get knowledge or realization. And to get Brahma knowledge and realization, one should go with fuel in hand to one versed in the Vedas, who has realized God. And finally, the sadhak must resort to a guru devoted to God, who has realized God and is calm. If there is no guru, it states in one of the other of Kabir's quotes, who will show us the way? It is quite enough to refer to the fact that all great teachers and even avatars have had their gurus, including Rama and Krishna. Especially on the question as to whether realization is possible without the help of a guru, the scriptures are quite emphatic. The Katha Upanishad says, in this manner of realization, unless someone else speaks it out, there is no way. Studies do not suffice. Without a guru, there is no realization. In another, it states, this Atman, that is, its realization is not got by study or repetition of Vedas, nor by keenness of intellect, nor by much learning. It is he whom realization desires that gets it. To him it reveals its form. Of course, this realization, which is personified, comes as a matter of fact, because there are methods through the grace or bodies of the gurus. Even Vasa, who taught his son Sukha all the Vedas, sent him to the Guru Janaka for confirmation. This King Janaka acted as his guru and enabled him to perceive that what his guru had taught and what the Vedas explained was the same as the actual realization which Sukha had in himself. Until and unless such a seal is set on one's realization, that realization is not complete. A story narrated frequently in this connection relates to Namdev, which is supported by the Guru Gita. Namdev was an ardent worshipper of Vital and had frequent sakshātara of Vital, and Vital even spoke to him. So Namdev was under the impression that he had achieved complete God realization and self-realization, and that there was nothing further for him to achieve in the spiritual field. When he had such wrong notions in his head, he once visited an assembly of saints, and there Gora Kumbhar, another saint, wanted to test which of the saints present were ripe or which were unripe. The puka pot, that is the fully baked pot, when struck with a mallet, produces a highly musical sound different from the thud, which alone is got by striking the mallet on an unbaked or ill-baked pot. Gora Kumbhar went round with his small mallet in hand and struck the head of one saint after another and said, Puka, Puka, that is ripe, ripe. When he came near Namdev, the latter got afraid and did not wish to face the mallet stroke, so he got up and went away. Then Gora Kumbhar said, unripe, unripe. The whole assembly held Namdev to be an unripe one because he had no guru. Then Namdev went up to Vital and complained, and Vital said that he was really unripe. Namdev thought that Vital's sakshātari to him was sufficient, but Vital answered no, and that he must go to a guru before realizing God in full, whereas at the time he was only realizing God in Vital and not in other forms. He was not able to see every form as God. Then God Vital told him to go to the Guru Vasobha Kasar. Namdev challenged Vital to appear in any form and said he would recognize him in any form. Vital then appeared first in the form of Harijan, who was baking in a pot a buffalo, recently cut, and next his own child, to the great honor of Namdev. Namdev, not realizing Vital in that Harijan form, came to Vital and said that he had not kept his promise of coming to test him. Vital said that he was the Harijan, and Namdev was horrified and wanted another test. Next, Namdev was told to sit under a tree near a well and go on with his worship, and then Vital would appear. Instead of Vital appearing, Namdev found that a Mohammedan riding on a horse came and trampled upon all his images and went with his horse to the pond for the horse to drink water. He was fiercely glaring at Namdev and left him. Namdev went on the second day to Vital and complained to him that he had not come. Then Vital said that the Mohammedan who broke his images was Vital. "Can you break images?" was the wondering query of Namdev. And Vital answered, "Yes." And in order to be able to realize God in all forms, he asked Namdev to go to Vaisoba Kasar. And when Namdev went to Kasar, he saw Kasar, an old man, placing his feet with shoes over a stone lingam that was worshipped. Namdev was aghast and entreated that old man to place his foot elsewhere than on the head of a lingam which people worshipped. When the old man requested Namdev himself to lift his emaciated legs up and leave them where there was no lingam, Namdev at once lifted up the old man's shod feet and placed them 2 or 3 feet off. There, right where he placed his feet, a new lingam shot up. Again, when Namdev shifted those feet to another place, another lingam shot up. Namdev was greatly surprised, and then that teacher told him, "You think my shoe is unworthy and that the lingam alone is God. It is to enable you to get over this prejudice and wrong notion you are sent here." After serving Vaisoba Kasar for some time, Namdev went back, and then his puka, God realization, was proved by Vital's test. Namdev sat at a dinner along with his caste men who were all full of achara. When the leaves had been spread and covered with dishes, a dog ran up to Namdev's plate and, biting and seizing a roti, ran away. Everyone cried out, "Polluted, polluted." Namdev alone lifted up a cup of ghee or butter from his leaf and ran after the dog, saying, "Vital, Vital, if you are taking only dried bread, it will choke your throat. Take this ghee along with it." People were laughing at the madness of a man who wanted to give extra feeding to a dog that polluted his plate and prevented his dinner. But the dog suddenly assumed the form of Vital and told him, "Now that you have served under a guru, you are able to realize me in a dog and other forms. This is an excellent way of teaching the need for a guru to have full realization of God in all forms, which according to the Gita is the only knowledge of God." What for a guru is needed? The object of seeking a guru may be secular or temporal or spiritual. So far as secular matters are concerned, people take very great care to get appropriate gurus to achieve the highest results. It is in spiritual matters that the issue is more often raised. People are apt to fancy that there is no clear reason to approach a religious guru, especially when other considerations such as one's own pride, one's disinclination to part with goods as dakshina to the guru. But if one sufficiently clarifies the position in one's own mind as to what a guru is needed for and what a guru can do, a solution is easy or made easier. Now, the main question being spiritual, one might note what there is as authority and next as precedent, and then finally come to one's own reasoning and try to decide the question. So far as the aim or object, the highest spiritual benefit is concerned, that is said to be reaching God or realizing God. But even for making out what the goal is, a guru's help is very often needed. Our nature and tendencies due to purva karma are mostly concealed and not realized or controlled. They are so confusingly working as to make many people find it difficult to decide what it is that they want and what is really good for them to aim at. In such cases, even to clarify the issue and to make a man clearly see what is best, a guru's aid is often useful, if not absolutely necessary. When some people realize that in the case of a certain set of gurus called samarthas, every benefit is achieved, including temporal, then the solution becomes easier. So we shall first take up the question of authority. What is a guru wanted for? Is it reaching God or God realization? Is that the highest? For that, the Upanishads in unmistakable terms refer to the necessity of a guru. Unless somebody else points it out to one, there is no other way of finding it, they say. The realization of self or God is so very subtle a matter that no amount of trouble in various directions, such as study and running up to meet people, will alone suffice. Study, tirtha yatra, and other punya works, ishta and purti, will not themselves show God, but will help one to a pure state of mind from which he can get the proper guru and realization of God. When we take up the authorities in the Puranas and other scriptures, we notice that a guru is able to achieve not only the above, but everything else. Especially in Baba's Marga, called the Guru Marga, the guru provides everything, including food, safety, and protection, to the disciple. That is the present counterpart of the ancient guru-disciple system for every study. In ancient times, all knowledge was one. All training was one. Any knowledge was called Veda, including mathematics and astronomy, as well as grammar. Therefore, any and every learning, teaching, was the regular course. As a boy went up to live with his guru for 12 years as part of his household and rendered even menial services and was treated as a member of the family, he reaped a rich reward in having not only his food and clothing and shelter provided for him, but also in the attention paid to every other item of his welfare. Consequently, the guru and his wife loved the pupil as their child, and the pupil loved the guru and revered his guru's wife as his mother. The best illustration is found in some Tamil Puranas. One Aruni was a pupil who went to live with his guru. The guru had a wet land which had to be looked after. The boy was told to go and see the guru's land one day. The boy found that the water needed for irrigating the guru's field in order to feed standing crops was all running away on account of a breach in the clay ridge. He had no stones with which to fill up the breach, and thinking that the loss was too great, put his own head and body in the breach, and as a result died. That Aruni is an excellent illustration of the extent to which the love between guru and disciple could go. So the Guru Gita says, the true disciple's body, wealth, skill, action, merit, and life are the Guru's. Exactly similar to this was the love of Sai Baba towards his Guru. The Guru's return of love in ancient days was equally strong. The Guru had, if a Samartha Guru, every power, including the power to ward off death or revive the dead, And it was the Guru's duty to us to use that power to save his pupil from death. As it states in one of the sacred scriptures, he is no guru, nor kinsman, nor father, nor mother, nor God, nor one's husband, who does not avert death when death is near. This was not a mere theory, but the actual fact of practical life due to the Samartha Guru's greatness. In Baba's own case, his Guru Venkusa averted his death from a brickbat hurled at him by making the brickbat stand still in midair. Baba himself averted death in the case of a good number of persons, such as Nana Chodakar and others, and Baba expressly mentioned these. Apart from death, there are numerous other important matters in one's life, such as success. And success very often counts so greatly that people desire success even at the cost of death. It was the Guru's function to help the proper disciple to success even in such cases. Referring to the Puranas, the best instance is that of the Sukra Acharya, the great master of the mantra science, helping his disciple King Bali to conquer all the three worlds and make Indra shake in his shoes and run up to his own Guru. And he ran up to his Guru and said, "Indra, I know the reason for this success of your enemy." The Guru of Bali, being a Brahmavedin, a master of mantras, has exercised his fullest knowledge and power on behalf of his disciple. Therefore, one can see that for temporal purposes also it would be excellent if one can get a Guru who has vast powers, that is, a Samartha Sadguru. Let not people think that this power to provide material things is a mere bookish statement and not reality. Sai Baba, a Samartha Sadguru, has proved in a good number of cases, several of which are recorded, that he could provide everything and that he undertook to provide everything. Let us take the case of one of his foremost disciples, H.S. Dixit. Baba told him, "Why have you any anxiety? All care is mine." Accordingly, Dixit, alike in the matter of health, wealth, and religious training, trusted entirely in Baba and left everything in his hands, not only during Baba's lifetime, but even after Baba's Mahasamadhi. He found that he did not trust to a broken reed. On every occasion and in every matter, Baba looked after him. In the matter of health, Baba told him, "You are going to have fever. It is, however, going to last only a few days. Do not fear." The pupil found the statement true and was happy. When he had to meet an enormously large claim at a time when his practice and his income was practically nil, Baba helped to find for him a sum of 30,000 rupees at the nick of moment to repay his creditor. There are numerous instances of Baba looking after entire welfare of the disciples, and they remind us of Bandrashala Ramdas and how his large debt of 6 lakhs of sovereigns to Tanisha Bacha, the ruler of Hyderabad, was met. Now the above will suffice to show that a guru is a distinct advantage, if not a necessity, when he can provide everything. But as samarthas are not as plentiful as blackberries, and one finds only ordinary gurus, the question may still be considered to be dependent upon the nature of the guru that one gets. But even talking about ordinary gurus and taking them into consideration, a person is likely to make a very good advantage in temporal and spiritual matters if he has the perfect faith even in an ordinary guru. It is not so much the personnel of the guru that matters as the extent of the disciple's faith. There is a case, an instance in point. Ekalavya finding that Drona would not be his guru, made a clay image of the teacher, and with the aid of that clay image, by his own intense faith in it, learnt all the innermost secrets and essence of the art of archery. Baba told a lady that she could find great benefit by putting faith even in a potsherd, and that the most important thing is the faith of the disciple and not so much the merit of the guru. Having said so much, we might next turn to the question of the qualifications of the guru and his disciples.